besides for Imagine, because we're going to get to Imagine, but what is one thing you do for editing that has saved you time?
Oh man, aside from Imagine, that's a good question, bro. Like, cause
Yeah.
literally, I went through the journey of
Hmm.
editing all the weddings myself, right? So I was doing
Hmm.
30 plus weddings a year, doing all the marketing, whatever, and still editing
Yeah.
that stuff myself. I went over to a human editor.
Hmm.
That was kind of a pain in the butt, right? There lacked consistency because I didn't have the same dedicated editor, you know?
Right.
So it was
Yeah.
like round
There's a bunch of
robin
people.
who was available.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and now, on the editing side,
Well, let me ask, like, are you using any when you have to do any final touch-ups, right? Anything that let's say it's a portrait of the bride and groom that they're gonna have printed large on their wall, right? Where you're gonna take more time beyond just what Imagine does for you, and do like those really fine retouch points. Are you doing something like a Wacom tablet or a loop deck for that editing, or like is there any tool that you're using to make things easier for you? Or is there any software you're using in addition to Lightroom that makes things better, easier for you or saves you time?
definitely a Wacom tablet. Like I choose a Wacom tablet like a mouse now.
Yeah.
But that comes from way before I was a photographer. My
Mhm.
buddy is a graphic designer. I saw him kind of doing it. I did graphic design. I knew how to retouch photos before I actually knew how to take photos, right?
Mhm.
Because I was in graphic design. But Wacom tablets is, it's so much easier than like this whole little finger thingy.
Yeah.
So that definitely does make it, more convenient. In terms of softwares outside of just standard Photoshop, nothing at the moment. I've tried, some of the AI retouching softwares.
Mhm.
I've tried, you know, I've tried it all, right? Just to figure out what's gonna make my life easier.
Mhm.
And I have a pretty consistent workflow at the moment of running everything through Imagine because I'll call. Um, there's a couple different softwares I'll use to like code depending on how I feel, and then I'll take it into Lightroom, run it through Imagine, spit it back out, export it, and anything that needs to be final touches. If I'm doing the final touches, because I don't I
Mhm.
don't always do them right, time things like that.
Right.
I go right into Photoshop and break out that Wacom. My retouching, I use frequency separation. There's not gonna say there's not quite an easy way to do that at the moment, right? There's just so many ways. I haven't tried them all quite yet.
Especially with Photoshop. With Photoshop, there's if you want to do one thing, there's 100 ways you can do that one thing in Photoshop.
Right.
So,
100%. And now there's all these companies dropping like retouch panels and
right.
things of that nature.
Yeah.
Sometimes, at least for me, the learning curve of it all is just easier for me to just do what I was doing, and then as opposed to taking
Yeah.
the time to learn this new thing.